Get off! We're about to go off here on this race. This is a challenge match because these tiers don't match up. Kappa. But we are off. We are definitely going off now. We have an immediate steak knife for both racers. Good old obsidian dagger. And a blood shop will have an interesting choice of items. Sailormint will opt to pick up the throwing stars for a consistent blood shop kill. Ribbongraph picking up leather armor over sailormint somewhere. But we'll leave everything behind is killing just for the blood drum. Interesting choice for Ribbon. Glass Cutlass is one of the safer glass weapons you can have because of your parries, but the problem is, in order to take advantage of Cutlass, you have to put yourself in some dangerous spots, which, with glass, is probably the most counterintuitive thing you want to do. You want to put yourself in dangerous spots, but you cannot take any hits, which makes things awkward, but compared to an obsidian dagger, I think you just take it for the damage up and just use it like a spear with parries here and there. Mint checking black for a glass broadsword. It's not want that. It's gonna opt to keep the cutlass. Ribbongraph finding move dig somewhere in zone 1. And we'll farm up this leprechaun quite a bit. Definitely resorting to a more build-heavy style than Mint's just go, go, go mode. Sailormint finding glass jaw. We'll pass up on that. There won't be any accidental item takes. Right here, right now. And meanwhile, Ribbon, check-in. Purple for a shield spell. A very good spell that Mint doesn't have, but Ribbon still is on the steak knife. Does have move dig to potentially speed up the zone 2, but only has a steak knife to work with. It's doing a pretty solid job of keeping the damage up on it, though. But that Wind Mage will pull Ribbongraph into a spot where he will go down a half heart. There is an immediate chicken though, so it's not bad. Mint finding a very, very good weapon. The Titanium Rapier. One of the best weapons you can pick up with CoNDOR mod. And Ribbon will find it as well. Ribbon making time up. It's not just move dig. Just spending less time building. Mint finding a scroll of need and uses it immediately to pick up a torch of foresight. Not quite the torch you want, but you aren't really likely to get the torch you want, so definitely we'll take foresight. We take those. Ribbon will use need to get a potion in tandem with their blood drum. Mint had that option as well, but used it immediately. But there is a boss shrine here for a free damage up if you tap that and then tap the bomb. But Ribbon doing a pretty good choice. Just taking the bomb outright. Doesn't really need the damage up because the damage up is just gonna come up anyways right next to it. Like, it doesn't matter. Ribbongraph definitely has the edge in terms of build here. Mint does not have much. But looks like killing this with Earth. The shopkeeper with Earth. Doing it with the 3 Earth method. Instead of going on the right side, walking all over to the left, and then earthing twice. But Mint's starting to have a comparable build. Has War Rapier as well, which is an excellent synergy for speed. Because you're gonna be shoving monsters around. And the more you shove monsters around, the more damage you'll take. Given that it would take double damage for lunges. A line of goblins waiting to get a slice of ribbongraph, but Ribbon will deal with all of that fine, as sailormint is the first one down to zone 4. Bit of a slip and slide for Ribbon. Ribbon will also swap off to the war. So lagging behind a bit. But does have cap to try to make this up, but I would give the build now to sailormint. Actually, no. I would give the advantage to sailormint. This much of a lead, and not that much of a build difference, and Ribbon's potion will be quaffed. A bit of a swarm, not handling it too well. Trying to run away from it, but the swarm is just gonna bob on over. Still put pressure on you, especially with the dragon fireballs. Aggressive pushing on Mint's end. Picked up heal spell, so has a lot more health to work with now. Ribbon will also pick up heal spell, and both races will keep her instead of Ribbon keeping shield. Some nice pixie use out of Mint there. Be the first one down to the zone 4 boss. And we have extra move dig for Ribbon. That usually is a great item to pick up, but oh, the swarm on Ribbon's end. Really good blood magic in order to keep enemies at bay here. That looked pretty horrifying. I would definitely be scared. But Ribbon handling that very well. As I said, Ribbon finding Shovel of Courage, which usually would be a great find, but they already have move dig, so it won't do too much more for them. But they will swap off of it and manage to pick up Blast Helm, but this is a bit much. Even though Mint only has 2 bombs, this gap that Ribbon needs to make up will be too much. Unless something horrible happens on Mint's end. Yep, Ribbon knows this. He's taking Telemonkeys, and that's gonna be a pretty okay one. He'll be down to deep blues. Definitely, Mint definitely isn't in the safest of positions here, but Mint does find an additional bomb, bringing them up to the required threshold. Skip butt puzzles on the Necrodancer. Very good threshold to hit. And on to Dead Ringer for Mint. Right side spawn will just opt to do easy left side scoots. And it will go perfectly fine on Mint's end. Does not need to check any of these chests. Ribbon does not have mapping. Could do with mapping to try to tear through this zone 5 a bit faster, but they are doing their best. They seem to have captured the general layouts of floors while screen watching, even though they were pretty significantly far behind. And we have an early hit on the Necrodancer. I just realized, still holding Blood Drum, which is a tool that you can still use to skip butt puzzles at the cost of health. It's definitely worthwhile if Mint didn't find another bomb. But Mint using the Blood Drum anyways in order to get an early first hit off the Necrodancer. Bit of blood magic coming out to free Mint from the ice necro freeze. I don't know. What is that called? Necro freeze. And we have a final time of 9:13. Race room. GG's. Ribbon making his way down to the Necrodancer. Does have the Blast Helm and the drum. Get the early first hit. Ribbon ultimately getting outpaced. I cannot give you the loot if you don't want it, Kappa. No, we're giving Mint the loot. Take this loot. And the dot D coming in for ribbon. Gonna be a bit too late. Yep. Bleed was a bit bad, but what's up is what obsidian? This tier? Mint is currently in titanium and ribbon is currently in gold. That is what you are asking. This is not obsidian. But if you were here before we start the first race, my display is not for obsidian. This is the general display because there isn't a dual display for gold and titanium because it looks awkward down the middle. Yeah, this one's a general one for nocturnal races, for challenge races between tiers. I don't know what else you'd use this for. Yeah, if it was obsidian, it would say obsidian at the bottom, but we are ready. Anywho, I was speaking. If you were here, Schlemo, earlier, you'd have heard what I said about Mint, in that they can be an extremely strong racer, or they can be just a horrible racer. It depends on the day. You do not want to fight them on a day where they're just having a good time, just killing everything, just absolutely killing it. But here we go, we're on our second seed. Mint already taken off on a good foot, so already bodes pretty well. Hello, TTF and Raiders. We are on our second point, and we have a pretty solid lock chop here. Ribbongraph will attempt to throw the blood shop, and it will fail. We have seen way too many failed blood shop kills, and it just sucks. It just sucks. I don't know what more to say about it. Then it should be seeded, and it's sad that it's not. It's unfair. Give us modding tools so that we can make it seeded, Ryan. We need a riskometer. Oh boy. I just never touched the riskometer. Sailormint is luring the dragon into this pretty juicy lock shop after buying pain earlier. And making sure this leprechaun doesn't get away before shooing the shopkeeper on out of here. Managing to pick up a pretty decent build just out of this lock shop. Ribbon has the chance to do the same. Yes, Ribbon has the foresight that Mint doesn't have. We have fair balance coming in. That will not affect anything, but that easily could have made things much worse. Pretty spooky, but looks like Freddy is making a beeline out of the shop as Sailormint finishes off the first boss flawlessly, checks purple for 2 freeze tomes, and will opt to keep the cookies instead. Bomb charm for Mint as well, just lying there on the way to the exit. And Mint is having a bit of a time with this exit here. Not wanting to tank a hit in order to save time there. Wants to keep this glass armor alive, it seems. He's still on base dagger, but obviously those boots of pain are gonna be putting in some work. Needs to make sure to keep on lunging. Ribbon is in a very similar situation as well. Massive bomb coming out on Sailormint's end to pretty much clear out the trapdoor room. have another flawless for Mint, using up quite a bit of bombs here, but really doesn't have anything else to use instead. And that dagger is now up to 3 damage. So can't just find a good base weapon like this face rapier here on Mint's end, and you're just able to roll with it. So Pain not putting in as much work anymore. New toys have been found on Mint's end, but nonetheless, that rapier Pain is still gonna be pretty solid. Bomb. Ribbongraph. Slightly pretty dangerous health situation. Not finding the bomb charm was pretty much on the way to the exit on 2-1. The build is definitely given to Mint at this moment, but Ribbon can find food here and there and get health back. Or with lunch, yeah. Some pretty unfun synergies with Boots of Pain. Like, this Boots of Pain, but I got a longsword or a spear. I guess I'm not using Pain anymore. I'm just hitting things with my 1 damage longsword. Swap off to Harp here, which is a pretty solid pick. They got lunges in form of the Boots of Pain, and they're able to regenerate off of this and also reasonably control swarms. But Mint is continuing to pull ahead. Ribbon definitely needs to do something more than just this. Ring of War for Ribbongraph. Great pickup actually to knock enemies away and then lunge into them with Pain. Ribbon has been taking quite a bit of damage, but healing up quite a bit as well. So it definitely isn't the end of the world with their Blood Harp. And once again they find Move Dig, but also once again it might be too late. But if anything is gonna help them catch up, that is definitely something. The Heavy Plate, Regeneration, and Move Dig. That is definitely something that's capable of doing it. Yep, Rapier War is on the other end, as Incolligor says. It won't be a breeze, and we got Move Dig on Mint's end as well, so, like, who cares, Kappa? Nonetheless, Ribbon is gonna fight this fight. Anything, tanking these hits strategically, saving that time by just eating up hits, regenerating it with that Blood Harp. Pretty good management of health here on Ribbon's end. It's losing a lot of health, but regenerating pretty much just enough to recover it all as Ribbon goes down. I mean, as sailormint goes down to Deep Blue 4, and now onto Zone 5, so Ribbon is still in the running here. They're aggressively pushing exactly what they need to do. They're very respectable here. Bit of a struggle with this Blade Master. I'm sorry, Monster. Words. I need to get words straight. Commentator phrases. List of commentator phrases. And then just have a soundboard. And then I think about which one to press, and then I press it. But Ribbon pushing through Zone 4. Closing the gap a bit, but doesn't look like it'll be enough. Unless Mint's 5-3 goes horribly off here. A massive number of kills for the Blood Harp there on Rippengraph's end. It's juicy health recovery. And Mint is considering what to do. Looks like doing an Oblivion. There are 2 riders incoming. Did not need to knock that one back, but it will go fine for the rest of it as Ribbon goes down to 5-3. Trying to keep this close, does not have the big bombs. So Necrodancer will take a bit longer. On top of already being behind, as Ribbon also opts to do Oblivion, but the Green Dragon gets knocked behind, but luckily it won't affect anything. But it ultimately is on the last hit of the Necrodancer, and Ribbon has 3-4 bombs to place. And there we go. 9:46 race from time. GG's. At this point, Mint definitely is not gonna go 0-3. And you just did Oblivion, it's all good. You didn't die? What more could you ask for? Not taking any hits, of course, but when you're in the fight pits, it's pretty different. Sitting here from the commentator / spectator perch, it's easy to see the right things to do. But when you're down there, fighting in the trenches, racing in the crypt, it's gonna be different. May know what to do, but doing it's a different question. But anywho, we are on our last seed. Ribbon definitely has the chance to take the loot off of Mint. These 2 seeds have been pretty close. And we are off. Boom, boom. Early Frost Dagger for both sides. We're seeing some early daggers and such in this set of races. But that definitely isn't something that you would complain about. And Ribbon doing a throw. Throwing the Frost Dagger, taking a hit from the Skeleton, not having the weapon to defend themselves while buying time outside of the Blood Shop. Will go down to half a heart and leave behind the Frost Dagger. 2 damage Gold Sphere. I wouldn't agree with that. Like, running Frost might be weird, but who knows? Maybe a Ring of Frost will come up, I don't know. But I guess in general, Frost would do better to kill things in 2 hits. As opposed to like 3? 3 isn't bad actually, it's just 1 more hit. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more fine it is. Mint swapping off to the Thinky Shrine. What is it? Who knows? It seems like a Cutlass here. Yeah, but Ribbon will not take it. They will bomb for a ring. And it will be Courage. You cannot get Dagger out of Thinking Shrine, Schlemo. So it has to be Cutlass. Oh, it's a Rapier! Never mind! The other thing, that's the other thing that looks like that. It's Obsidian Rapier. That is a very good weapon on Mint's end that Ribbon won't pick up. But Ribbon picks up a very good speed ring instead. Wouldn't doubt that they know how to use that, but on half a health, it's gonna be scary. be the first one down to King Konga 1. Using Gigantism to dig out the throne, pretty clever use of that. But Ribbon has a glass shovel anyway, so can just dig out the throne right away, but nonetheless, pretty clever use that we don't see all too often. What's Thinking Ring do again? It can be any number of rings. Or not any number, it could be a certain set of rings, and you don't know which one it is until you see its effects. So, like, some of the easier ones to discover is, like, Peace. If you pick up the Thinking Ring, and you get an extra heart container, you know it's Peace, or if you pick it up, and all the gold off the floor disappears, it's gold. Or if you kill something and you do a courage dash, that's courage. If you go to the next floor and then you heal, that's regen. Yeah, it can be many different rings. You don't know right away until it gets used. There goes the shop tile on sailormint's end. Ribbongraph is doing a good job rolling with this half a heart. And courage, and sunglasses. This is actually a pretty dangerous combination of items, but Ribbon is handling it more than well. Sunglasses with 2 damage can cause things to happen. But Ribbon very comfortable running these sunglasses. Also comfortable running courage. A lot of things you think about, keep in the back of your mind. And we've got Big Digs, Hargreaves, Chainmail on sailormint's end. Pseudo Squaga suit. Also picking up a Ring of Regen. This is quite the build for Mint. Having the weapon, the armor, and the regeneration, along with shield spell to boot. Ribbon does not really have much that can compete against that. Not anymore, now that Mint picks up one of the best rings in the game, if not the best, in many situations. And Ribbon is going the wrong way on 3-1. Getting lost in Zone 3 is just something that happens sometimes. Zone 3 is pretty hard to read. But with this close of a race and a very doable deficit, definitely can't afford to get lost now. Mint goes down to the Zone 3 boss, which will be Riff. Ribbongraph, that is the Blood Harp Pain Boots once again on Ribbon's end. Popping off that spear, blocking off the pain from activating. That is a very good switch. So, inheriting a lot of the build from the previous seed. Once again, needing you to use this very similar build to catch up to Mint, who has a rapier of all things. Once again. Doesn't have war this time, but got Ring of Regen along with the shield. So Mint still has it. To what are they? Forgot to kill the sarcophagus. Okay. As in taking the stairs. I should rephrase what I say then. That very much is confusing. Going on instead of going down is probably a better phrasing of that, because going down can mean horrible things. Bad things. Mint, what is this crazy telemonkey use? It will be fine. As I said, has shield spell and Ring of Regen, but oh boy. That puts Ribbon in a pretty compromising situation. Some tall sprite stuff going on Ribbon's end. And sunglasses as well. Hard to make out the enemies with sunglasses and tall sprites. As Mint continues down to 5-1. And now 5-2. Just 5-1 didn't even happen. Mint's just continuing and on. Perfectly. Just continuing on. I don't know. Words. We have diagonal rat on Ribbon's side. Oi. Yeah, Ribbon's once again tanking a lot of hits, but regenerating it back. As the rat repositions itself to the right spot. Down rat though. Down rat. Sailormint onto Deadringer. Very quick zone 5, not getting lost anywhere. And we got easy left side scoots. There we go. 3 bombs to boot as Ribbon makes his way down to zone 5. Once again, a little too late seems to be the thing. But continue trying to push forward, blood magicking that shield, getting a regen, but Mint had the same advantage as well, so not really gonna make up too much just by having that. Dorian taking quite a few hits on Mint's end. Half health Dorian, don't look dead. And a bit of a struggle here on this Necrodancer fight, but Ribbon, meanwhile, dying on Deadringer. And there we go. Another sub 10 out of Mint. GG's. I wanna watch that Deadringer over again. Hang on. Got this. This, please work. Oh, this is too late. Looks like... I don't know what this looks like. Thinking emoji. It looks like Oblivion gone wrong. I don't know. Yes, the monkeys were necessary. So, Mint not going 0-3! As I said, Mint a very good racer or a very bad racer. Depends on the day. Either they're gonna go 0-3 here or 3-0 here. And they went 3-0, which is good.